views, opinions, and positions expressed on this radio program are those of the speakers, authors, or other contributors. This broadcast is intended for entertainment purposes only.
Consciousness is an amorphous and expanding entity.
Realize that you are in a cultural hypnosis.
We have been systematically put into a state of unconsciousness so that we cannot see.
I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like
What
that.
we are part of and what we are experiencing, though that is changing.
And now, here is your host for Quantum Mindfulness Radio, Joel Ayala Ayapana.
Welcome back to another intriguing episode of Quantum Mindfulness Radio and the Great Awakening. I am your host, Joel Ayala Ayapana, author of the book of Positive Light, Remembrance of the Heart, executive producer and founder for the network here at RealRevolutionRadioX.com. Today, I will be interviewing on this show, on our podcast, a very, very special person. And she goes by the name of Dyana Golden Eagle, a delightful soul who had come into a time in my life when I was down and out during the first portions of this year, during the end of January 2018, earlier this year, a time when the lesser self-serving energies within my life required a much-needed energetic purging. From her heart and from her deep and soul, Dyana blessed me with a sacred prayer which drew the circumstances of my own condition, my circumstances specifically, where I was going through a divorce. And this divorce actually just took my life into a tailspin. And this chant, this prayer, which was gifted to me by Dyana, offered me another alternative. The alternative to forgive and to release, to purge the energies of which were at least serving to me. But at the same time, the energy of such a prayer allowed for me, from what was deeply ingrained within my heart, to manifest, to be rebirthed into a totally different reality. Dyana told me, imagine being in my new place, within this new life, with my new surroundings and circumstances. And within my head, I thought about the very people I desired to be near and dear to this life while reciting this prayer. And when you know a new life was manifested into being, rebirth, then boom, a month later I was blessed with this new beginning, almost like the forking of a new parallel universe. And so I have with me Dyana Golden Eagle, medicine woman. Please welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
And Dyana, from the sacred prayer that you gifted me, was this a prayer that was something that was specific to my particular circumstance, or is this something that is a general type of prayer that is offered to people who are in need, who require that little jumpstart or spark within their life?
The sacred chant was guided to me from the guardian angels, if you want to say, or divine ones. And it was given to me, gifted, I should say, last year in January. The sacred chant is basically says, as above, as below, as we do, the divine guardians do now. And what it basically means, you're calling on all of the divine that are around you at that moment. As you know, there's no such thing as time, but moments. And as above means, as above is spirit realm, as below is your earth realm. So the combination of the two opens up a vortex, and you basically calling in and you putting in the intent. So the intent is what you see right now, what you visualize right now in your life, what you're seeking right now. And when you put that affirmation out into the universe, it's been heard and it's been received with a pure heart, pure intent. And this is why the sacred prayers or sacred chants actually manifest once you put the intent out, and that's coming from the heart chakra, everything needs to be pure mind, body, and spirit, so in balance with yourself. And then you put it out, and obviously it's been heard, it's been received, and once you connect, it manifests. And this is why I show people that they have the power within themselves to create these manifestations.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it, the heart chakra, the central chakra, which is the middle portion between as above and as below. And from my own research into quantum theory and into basic math, heart science, from your own particular teachings, deeply rooted from your line of work, when you say that the heart is very powerful, especially in anything that you do with any of your work, especially with your crafts and the many things that you activate and give to many people that you help, when you say that the heart is a very important portion to the healing process?
The heart is, if you visualize, it is the actual creative source of energy. It's placed within the sacred body. The human is, it's 369, which forms a pyramid. And once that is activated, once you connect with the heart chakra, everything falls into place. So yes, it's the most powerful vibration in the universe. As you know, there's no time, there's no beginning, and there's no ending. So yes, once we actually surrender, one has to totally surrender to self, and of course, create a source. It's the most beautiful feeling. It's freedom. So for me, yes, this is what the guardians have shown. This is what Creative Force has shown me. When you connect with yourself and connect with that beautiful, beautiful heart that we all have, and it's not just a physical heart. Words can't actually describe it. It's a feeling, and once you connect, it just opens up the rest. It's just a beautiful feeling.
Now, just from your energy, really, I mean, before we even actually started conversing on this recording for this particular episode on Quantum Mindfulness Radio, we texted, we've messaged each other on Facebook, and you had performed an additional reading for me. We'll get into that. But the reason for me saying this is because I did feel your heart. I felt your energy. And with that being said, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what your work is all about, this introduction is merely just a little taste, a little appetizer for what you're all about. And I'm sure all of my listeners right now are feeling you and your energy and just the authenticity and sincerity of where you're coming from. Let's go backtrack just a little bit and to basically gravitate towards the origination of Dyana, Golden Eagle. How did everything start out for you? From my understanding, you were initially born in Africa, and somehow you've migrated to Australia and now here in the United States. So if you could just tell us briefly about your beginnings. How did you know that you were supposed to do this particular line of work?
Well, first, we don't say work because it's a way of life. This is ancient from the beginning of when we would be assisting each other. So this is how my memories are. It's just a knowing. Yes, I was born in Harare, Zimbabwe, Africa, mixed bloodlines. My mother's side of the family is where this I feel, and it's a knowing that this gifts and abilities were shown to me from my mother's side. So there is African, there is Malaysian, there is Jewish. There's multiple bloodlines on this timeline. So with raising or being raised by my mother and grandmother, they showed me the old ways. So many things were spoken, such as phrases or sayings. As a young child, you kind of not quite remember, but there's a feeling. And the words are just, like I said, very hard to describe. You just know. So from about my first experience was when I was 5 years old. I could see things, but didn't quite understand why I was being, if you want to say, spirit, because that's what they are. the ones that are crossed over on the other side of the veil. So these guardians, if you want to say, were already sort of showing themselves, but I couldn't really quite understand. And then as I got older, around, say, I think 7 years of age, my mother would say to me, I have open healing hands, because they spoke, not only did they speak English, they spoke Afrikaans. So she would say, you have grandfather's healing hands, and I would know how to massage. So it was just a known. I knew how to do this, and with my palms, I could feel warmth coming out of my hands. So that's another sort of gift and ability that I have that's been gifted to me. But just as I was growing up in Africa, there was just things I would see and know, but couldn't really say to families, because most people were not really, how could I say, aware or open to that kind of things, Most people would say, of course, that there will be magic or maybe say voodoo. Now we're understanding that the word voodoo is actually a positive thing. It's not a negative thing. It's how you actually channel your energy and how you heal people with the gifts and abilities that we have, and assisting each other. So there was something else that occurred when I was very young with my nieces, and I also spoke of things that you could self-heal your body. I was also around 7 years of age, and they thought I was very weird, that I could say things that they didn't understand. And traveling to Australia, we had to migrate from Zimbabwe. My mom knew that there was things for me that I needed to leave. There was a great change coming, being of mixed race. Just things that she would always say, to us children growing up. There's a big change coming in the world. There would be a massive change of migration of people. So there was those kinds of things growing up with my mom, and then eventually we migrated in 89 to Australia, and I'm already about 21 years of age, and this is where, again, like I said, I would start to see things, be aware of my visions, which I was receiving but not fully understand why I'm having these visions of the Hopi tribes, people that were connected to me on this continent in the U.S., and I couldn't understand why I was listening to music that would make me cry, and because I would listen to Cherokee, I would listen to Apache, I'd listen to all these different tribal music, but couldn't understand, the full meaning. But I would know that I am to go somewhere, and I would have to be in America. I just didn't know where, when, how, who I would connect to. And my vision of my grandmother, she came to me when she crossed over, and she let me know that she was going to cross over into spirit realm. And these things just became stronger over the years. And it was a knowing, especially because I was working in pharmacy, and I would speak to people, and the people would say, how do you know these things about me? And the first word that came to me was knowing. And they would say, what do you mean? What does that word mean? And I would say, Creator, if you want to say God, depending on your faith. I would say to them that this is from something above. I could not sort of give a visual. I could not say whether it was male or female. I just would say it's from above. And it doesn't mean, in the clouds or in the sky. It just meant above. It's in a different place. There's no time. And that's how it's been until now, that all these gifts and abilities, all the visions I was shown over the years has come from this realm, from guardians. And when I had my vision of the Hopi grandfather, same thing. And when I went to Canada, it was the same. I was given visions from the Sacred Mountain to bring crystals back to the rest of the world. And this is how the crystals, I connect and activate them. So the gifts and abilities is to activate crystals. And this is how I actually do the readings. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. They allow this connection. the collective allow it to happen. And I'm just a guide. I just assist. It's like two pillars. They show me two pillars of light, and the connection is the greater. As they say, the greater, the collective. They do the connection, they assist, and then you are actually coming forward and remembering that you have these gifts and abilities within yourself to change your circumstances. If that makes sense to anyone else.
Absolutely, absolutely. For my listeners who are curious, actually Dyana did a reading for me, and it was very fascinating, intriguing, and inspiring at the same time. We'll get into that shortly, but just the memory of, there was like a little slight memory that kind of popped in from, I guess, past lives, and I can't even really describe it, but it reminded me of a feeling, and this feeling resonated to potentially a past life. I don't know anything particularly in detail, but just to fall back onto your story. From what we had talked about earlier before the recording, you mentioned that it was kind of like a memory for you too as well, from remembering your own past lives. If you can just graze real briefly on that past life, if you still have that memory, and how it pertains to this life and connection. How does that memory continue on with what your mission is, your life work, as it pertains to this timeline?
The past lives which have shown, and we have thousands, as you already know, that creative souls, we've all have thousands of lifetimes. We all have interacted as a male, female, brothers and sisters, the whole 360, if you want to say. We've all been all that. And when they allow you to have a certain memory of timelines or past lives, if you want to say, those past lives are key to your moment in your life, meaning we have past, we have present, we have future, and we have parallel, all happening at the same time. But past lives can assist you on your current life. Same with your parallel, same with your future. It can come in. So most people have been misunderstood or misguided. The past lives, especially for myself, which is the medicine woman, creating these sacred dream catchers and connecting and creating the dream catchers are all from these past lives. Majority are from past lives as a medicine woman, which they showed me, and through other readings that when I'm assisting other souls, it has come up where there'll be a message for me, Dyana, Golden Eagle, and they will show that person a past life that I was assisting with Lemurian crystals. I would be assisting with healing, which I'm doing the ancestral way. So the ancestors have come forward from all directions, which are all the tribal people on this planet. And especially, and I don't want to say Native American, but for the moment I am to speak this at the moment. So all the tribes, and they'll understand this. So I carry Golden Eagle, and I've had the honoring of meeting people that carry the condor energy. So it's from the north, from the south, from the east, from the west. All these ancestors, the great-grandfathers from all those timelines have come to me. It allowed me to understand and believe this great journey that I am to return to this continent, the U.S. There's many places, there's many people to assist in healing, in remembrance of their divinity and remembrance of their ancestral ways, and incorporate it into their everyday life. So it becomes a lifestyle. So no one is above, no one is below. And so these dream catchers are from these past lives where I'm being remembering that when I'm weaving, and the circle of the dream catcher represents the great circle of life, or people will say the medicine wheel of life. The four directions are all the tribal people on the planet. These sacred colors come together and create the circle, and in the center of the dream catcher is create a source, central sun. So everything comes from the divine, comes from the divinity, which we all are divine souls. So as above as below, So on that, showing that the great circle of life, that every soul is connected to source. You've never been disconnected. It's been misunderstood, which we actually have done this ourselves. So this is the memories of the dream catchers when they weave this energy, sacred songs, the praise, and I'm weaving it all with unconditional love. So they're showing me that when we word unconditional love, there is no attachment. It's just pure energy being weaved into them. So when I completed the dream catcher, I really know that it needs to go to its person. It's not mine. It's a gift from above. That this energy is to remind the soul that they are always divine, always have been, always will be. The readings are the same. It's showing that person at that moment, they have the gifts and abilities within themselves to see that they can change. Everything is about the potentials out there. We all have, if you want to say, trials and tribulations, but they're all learning. It's all experience. It's all lessons that we have to participate. However, we have the power to change that situation and that circumstance, and that we are not to judge ourselves. We're not to judge another person. That we can collectively look at ourselves, reflect, and go, oh, wow, okay, I was doing that, but now I know I can do better with myself. And that's what it calls about self-healing. You heal yourself, you actually heal the planet. So it's recognizing that you have the power within yourself. And this is how these dreams, visions come to me. This is how my past life to do with medicine woman. And going on the journey that they show me, that they've given me a map to go to the places and connect with souls. Because it's a two-way, it's never a one-way. You assist me as well. So in the readings, I am being assisted by remembering the sacred prayers, by remembering the sacred charms, by actually connecting with your spirit energy. I'm one with you. I'm always your equal. This is what they showed me.
Absolutely beautiful in the way you've described that. And again, just further going off of a memory and remembrance, just from the many different places that you've mentioned, not only Australia, later in your travels from Africa, from wherever you're born, you also mentioned your connection with the Hopi and with your connections to Sedona, Arizona. And yeah. I believe you had also taken a trip just recently to a Serpent Mound in Adams County, Ohio. Me personally, I'm Filipino, and as it relates to what we're talking about in conversation, the Philippines, Maharlika, and its relationship to the common denominator to all of these locations that you visited and have been blessed to be within the presence of those higher energy locations. I gotta say, there's a common denominator of Lemuria, and you mentioned Lemurian crystals too as well. So what does Lemuria mean to you? I'm sure it ties in well with your past lives and how it relates to your life mission within this timeline. What does Lemuria mean to you, and how it influences the life that you portray to many of the people that you help?
Lemuria, for me, is what they were shown, and the crystals, we have worked with crystals, and there's not many on the planet that, and I say that with much humbleness. The Lemurian crystals contain all the memories on the planet and planets. Everything is connected. Lemurian crystals are connected to the crystalline grid of Earth, and we are crystalline ourselves. So when our actual human body is like an avatar, so we put it on the side for a moment and visualize your divine light. And that's what that crystalline grid or crystalline Lemurians are connected to that. Your avatar body is your Gaia. So the avatar body is actually Gaia. Everything about the human body, it's actually Gaia. Every organ, every cell is actually Gaia. So, and Gaia is Mother Earth. The two together, the light body and your human avatar body, is all connected with the Lemurian crystals. So when you recall and remember that everything you do, your mind, body, your thoughts and feelings, is solely connected. So we have to always be mindful of what we speak, what we think, and how we go about our everyday life. So it becomes a lifestyle. So the Lemurian crystals, what they showed me, I aim to meditate with them because they contain the memories, they contain information that we all have. And by connecting with them and surrendering, that energy is released. So in the readings or when I'm meditating, they assist me. They assist me in the memories that we were all one, we were all connected. And this is the memories that they've showed me about the pyramids, which is basically going back to the Lemurian crystals, that there was a time where there was pyramids all on the planet, and everything was connected because of the vibration. It's very important about the vibrational energy. That all these pyramids, and there's the crystal pyramid that's in the water, and these memories of mine, which they've shown me in the visions, that we have codes within ourselves. There's a few of us that do. It's very honoring. And when we are awakened, so to speak, and the guardians come to individuals, like my experience with my vision, I've had them twice with crystals, and it's connecting with the pyramid. And one is the pyramid which is in the water. I think they call it the Bermuda Triangle. It's a natural pyramid that is actually crystal. So it's very important with these crystals when one receives one, when one is gifted, or one is connected, feels connected to get one, is to meditate with those crystals and to allow to see what you have to see for your own journey. This is how I know about the crystals. Everyone has a slightly different experience, but it's a collective, if that makes sense.
Now, you had done a reading for me personally, and the prayer that you had gifted to me, which was very specific to my circumstance, greatly changed the paradigm from what I thought it was going to be to something that I thought would never, ever be, but manifested. And it was just a wonderful thing to experience. I didn't think of it too much. My mind was pretty much at another place. But when I did recite that prayer in the very beginning, I really felt it within my heart that it was going to manifest into something different. But after I forgot all of that and, just went through my own swing of things and trying to survive and emotionally and physically, things started to change for me. And it was almost like, wow, this is amazing. And again, I just for a momentary lapse in time, I totally forgot about that prayer. And I was totally amazed as to how things happened for me, like almost immediately. And I wanted to find the origination of how all of this manifested. And when I backtracked and followed the trail and retraced my steps, it led back to that prayer. And then when you came back within my own awareness, and we reconnected, and now here we are talking. But prior to us recording this interview, you gifted me with this crystal and provided me with a reading. And the reason why I'm saying this is because of the things that you could do for other people too, and helping them to clear out, to detach from old karma, and to manifest things from their heart, from a place of abundance. That's what I kind of draw from the experience that I experienced from your reading and how you activated that crystal. If you could provide a little bit history of that crystal that you provided for me. I know that it came from Canada and from a particular location on a mountaintop. And if you could provide us just a little story of how the process became about to be to retrieve that crystal from that location, and how you felt from within your heart to give those particular crystals to particular individuals. If you could gravitate towards describing that process.
I sure can. I connected with a chief in 2014. I connected with a chief from the Okanagan Valley in Vernon, British Columbia. And it took me about 7 months to eventually, get everything ready, prepared, and I left for Canada. So I was there from June, the 7th of June, 2015 to 2015, June to November, actually. In that timeline, I would also have a lot of visions. So going to that particular part of the world, there was more, I would say, activation, I suppose. There's a mountain that the organizing people who would pray many, many years ago or many moons ago. And the chief taught me the remembrance of sacred prayers as well as sacred chants. And we did ceremonial sweat lodge. We assisted war veterans. And during that timeline, this is where he was guided to take me up to the mountain where the ancestors would pray. And on this mountain, there's crystals, they're quartz crystals, and I've been shown that actually, from what I've been shown, these are marine crystals. And we would collect, and so in the morning we were shown to go and pray first, do offering of tobacco, do offering of the food. When we completed that, we were given sort of like a time frame, if you want to say, that we're allowed to go from the morning to maybe say late afternoon, which is about 4 or 5, knowing that it's time now, sunset is upon us, and this is how we have to come back down the mountain. And when we were there, we were showing, or he was showing me the remembrance of how to actually dig for these crystals. And when we would complete that from the morning to the afternoon, and showing the remembrance, it was very funny because he would teach me to say to be quiet, to be still, and remember how to listen to the spirit of the mountain, to listen to the sacred animals on the mountain. And I would be shown these gifts of crystals. And of course that did happen to me. And in a week, we were doing this for about a week. And in that process, in my vision, spirit of the mountain came to me and allowed me to understand that I'll be giving these crystals away. These crystals will be assisting in healing of many people on the planet. And I will be doing this through some form of reading, but I didn't fully understand how at that moment, how the crystals would assist. I just knew they would. And so when I had these visions, and it kept coming to me to say, you need to come in the morning and you'll be gifted. And there will be some for me. I have 3 crystals. One is in the shape of a heart. The other is it almost looks like, I'm holding it right now in my hand. It almost looks like the mountain itself, if I sort of look at it. So I was gifted 3, but the rest were to be gifted away, and there will be assistance needed from these souls. So in that time of the 6 months when I was there, I was receiving many visions about these crystals and what I'll be doing, but I didn't know exactly how. Does that make sense? I just knew that I'll be doing something. And it got stronger. There's a feeling got stronger. The knowing got stronger. So when I returned from Canada in November 2015 to Australia, because I lived in Melbourne, the visions got stronger. And they let me know that I would have a page, some kind of page, which was my Facebook. I came to realize that it will be activated and many people will come via that way to me for assistance. And since 2015, I've been doing that. I've been gifting away, and I know that that person will require assistance. It's a knowing and a feeling, and sometimes I will actually get to see something about their life. So you can say it's a vision. So I'll be sitting in my lounge or something, and I'll go, okay, that person, and I'll go on the page and I'll say, I'll greet them, I'll introduce myself, and I'll say there's something I am to gift you, and it'll be a crystal, and I explain where the crystal came from, and it's a sacred mountain. it has energy, but it's going to assist you somehow. And the person will be very amazed, shocked, surprised, and quite nervous at the same time, like why they're receiving something for free. And I say, well, it's not me, it's actually Creator, if you want to say God, that is allowing this to participate. It's him, it's a collective. And then the ancestors that are around me as well, and around that person, including people's animal totems. We don't have one, we have trillions upon trillions. And same with the sacred colors. I'll be showing certain things. It all depends on the individual. So this is how these crystals have come about. When I feel that they are to go out, it's just a feeling and a knowing. They go out, and then people get connected and get very surprised in the reading because they have the power, or they're empowered to see what they can do about themselves or the situation that they're in.
Right. Just remembering the reading that you provided for me.
Yes.
And, my expectation was that you would provide more of a narrative as to your own reading of me. But the way that you performed it, it was different from what I'm used to from past, interactions with other people who are intuitive or psychic, or, provided other readings from our First Nations background. But the way that you incorporated me into the whole mix was that I became an active participant in the whole reading in itself. You provided the guidance. And when I started to realize my own significance and my own healing, I started to realize, too, that we as people, as far as healing is concerned and self-healing, that we possess really the answer to a lot of our own questions. And because of that, I started to realize that trust was a big thing. And I mentioned this before we actually started this recording. Trust was a big thing, not only for me, but I'm sure with other people, and trusting themselves and tapping into their own hearts and into their own intuitive nature, to trust that whatever they're feeling or hearing from within their heart, or their own essence of what they're retrieving or channeling in from above as below, that is exactly the message that is coming in. I think many at times we count out a lot of the messages that come in because we think that, we got to be crazy. Oh my God, I can't believe I just thought about that. But there's many times throughout the day, me included, where I do not listen to those thoughts or those emotions or those feelings, which I think come from a different place as opposed to just something that we just think up. I believe we really discount a lot of our own power and our own intuitive nature. And so I think by trusting in ourselves even more, as opposed to trusting other people, and which, that comes natural too as well. But I think that the most important thing to healing not only the world, but the most important thing within the process of this paradigm shift that we're going through, we have to trust ourselves. So wouldn't you say?
Yes, it's a given. Yes, I say yes to all that you've spoken of. What these readings are, and this is how Spirit would like me to do these readings, is to show the individual that you have the gift within yourself to see, right, with the heart, mind, and your body, because the body sees everything. Once you see those things about yourself, we do kind of laugh, which is great, because Spirit Source has a sense of humor. If everyone, when you've connected, you'll find out that Creator Source has a sense of humor. We can actually laugh at ourselves and realize that you have that, if you want to call it power, to change your circumstance. You can look back, reflect. And when you're seeing that, you realize, wow, I've always had the knowing how to change my circumstances. And I'll give you a quick phrase of what my mother used to say, and I think it's somewhere written in a book. I call it the book, which is the Bible, because there's many events that I've actually participated that are true. So my mom would say, very young, as a young girl, there's a mountain. My nickname was called Gizzy. She would say there's a mountain. And when she would say, you want to get up to the mountain so you can go over the mountain around the mountain, through the mountain, or under the mountain. And I couldn't understand what she kept saying, going up there's a mountain and there's all these different directions. I could not understand it, but as I grew with my own intuition, which we need to trust, your intuition is your higher self, it is spirit source, it is creator source, it is all of the collective. So this is why these readings are so important. It's showing that your higher self, your intuitive, is coming from above, but it's also coming from below, which is your actual experiences. So in that saying, that mountain represents a situation, and the other 5 ways around the mountain or over the mountain or through the mountain or under the mountain is your solution. That is meaning solution to a particular situation going on in your life. So those are the things that Spirit has shown me, that by these readings, it is gifting that person the understanding and the knowing that they have this power within themselves, because you are from Source. You are always with Source. You never disconnect to take a moment. So a moment in human life takes 5 minutes. Have a sit down, think about it, and see it from the heart that you can change it. We have been so programmed and preconditioned with ideas that we do not have the power with ourselves. Yet we do. And it's saying, in the readings, have a moment to yourself without the cluster of your everyday life. I mean, we are to have the balance of your art, and we are to have the balance of spirituality within ourselves. Once you have that balance, you are then gifted the remembrance of knowing you can change everything about you if you desire the change. You have to desire it from your heart space. You have to desire it all that's within you. Once you do all that, yes, as you said, things manifest very quickly. But you have to desire it. We assist each other, but at the end of the day, you have the choice. That's why they gifted us free will. This is how these readings are showing the people that you are the gift. You are unconditional divine love, divine life. You are the most beautiful creation ever created, now and always. This is why they brought these memories to me to assist the souls. And you assist me by retaining these memories, by retaining these prayers, these sacred chants, and going to places where many souls have not ascended. Many souls wander the earth. Many places contain the dark energies. And if we collectively come together as one, all this will change. It is going to change because they showed these visions to us. I don't know the other people, but I know from me connecting with different tribal people, and I'm talking about people around the world, they have been shown this will all end. However, individually we are to self-heal.
And from all of this, from your life mission, and from many other so-called light workers, we'll talk about you personally being. I remember just reading your bio from what you had gifted me many weeks ago, and just reading just recently too as well, that you were a blue light worker. And if you could just provide a description as to how that's different from just a light worker in general. And I'm sure there's many different types and categories of many people out there who do this type of life mission. What is a blue light worker as far as pertains to your line of what you do in helping to heal other people?
From my understanding and what they're showing me, the blue energy or the blue ray, for me, it's showing me the unconditional divine love. That this energy, when it's transferred, it heals straight away. When I first birthed, when they showed me in the memories of when I've had conduits, there's other people on this planet that are conduits. The ones that we call the gatekeepers, we retain these codes within us. We don't own this. We don't own anything. We are gifted. It's not ours. It's created source. So the gatekeepers, it's like a visual to give you a visual, to give people a visual. Dakim is one that will ignite. So it's just when I did your reading, I'm igniting, so it's like a battery. In other words, it's like the blue energy is like a battery. It recharges you, so to speak. And it's recharging you with memories. That's all we do. The blue light it ignites you in your memories. So it's like a Kundalini awakening, but a milder form.
Right.
So those memories are awakened. The memories are showing you that you are from the beginning. You have no ending, no beginning. You're always there with Creator Source. So that's the blue energy. And it's divine, unconditional divine light. This is the difference. I cannot speak for others, but from what they're showing me, this is what the blue healing light. It's healing. It actually heals you in that moment. So when I'm connecting with you, and I'm speaking with you, I'm always having that sacred chant in my mind's eye. I'm always speaking from the heart chakra. The intent is always pure. I'm always showing you that not only you, but every person on this planet, it's all about unconditional divine love. That you are worthy of unconditional divine love. You are unconditional divine love. And to always remember that in all these moments. And that's what that blue energy is about.
And this is a little bit more of a personal question too as well, but it also taps into a process of how these visions or these feelings of knowing like come from your readings. Now, you mentioned prior to us recording this interview that when you heard my voice and when you done the reading, and there was an energy or a feeling or an emotion that came from our interaction verbally, that my essence or the origination of where it came from was very old. How did that come as a transmission for you? Was that a feeling, or did you see a particular vision, or was that something that was part of that knowing that's just unexplained?
Okay. Yeah. The majority of the time, it is just a knowing. It's very hard. It's very hard to describe, and I tell people words can't describe it. There's no words that can describe it. It's just a knowing. That's the only word that comes. And the knowing means that it's from Creator Source. It is the memories of all memories, your timelines upon timelines. We've lived thousands of lifetimes, thousands. So your energy is Creator Source energy, which is connected to mine and everything. Everything is connected. Nothing is not connected. You know, people have the thoughts and feelings that if a tree is not connected to a trunk, it's dead. Well, they're actually wrong. Everything is living energy. So when I hear a voice, the vibration of the voice allows me to know that you are an ancient soul. It will allow me to see that you've lived many lifetimes, that you may be 25 in human life, but your actual sound allows me to know that you're way older than that. The energy is way older. That's how it comes to me. It will show me even sometimes colors about you. It will show me, how would I put it? It's kind of hard to describe. Things you like, things you don't like. It will show me, how would I put it? Just things about your life, but not everything. So it's not it's just certain things will show me, and then I will put it into words at that moment. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. And you haven't been just the only person to say that, as far as being like an ancient soul. And the first time I heard it, I'm like, oh, okay. Even though I didn't feel like it, because I felt so new to a lot of the things that I was going through. But I get it. I know we're in this particular experience, in this particular life, for this particular timeline to experience it in a particular way, regardless of the fact that we're ancient. We've been here for many thousands of lives earlier, many different places and dimensions. Many other people have made mention when they would just either nonchalantly talk to me or through an official reading, they may mention, and this is from different sources, no connection to each other, who do not know who I am. They say that not only have I had multiple lives in this timeline or other timelines within the earthly plane, but also other alien lifetimes. So they've made mention of that several times, and that's really fascinating to me. And how I have that relationship to the Star Brothers or my own council, who is specific to my own particular life mission, and I'm sure everybody else has their own life mission too as well. The one thing that has really gravitated towards me, and I think it's just fascinating as far as how it relates to the reality of the overall, I guess, structure of the universe and everything else as far as entities that relate to us in relationship to the overall picture of the universe, is the starseed. They've made mention of that too as well. If you could, for our listeners who are unaware of not only just the material that we're talking about right now, which is fascinating, inspiring, and just very interesting, the starseeds as it pertains to what we're going through right now in the shifting paradigm. And we'll talk about the divine feminine and how it relates to what is happening and how the divine feminine relates to First Nations belief system as far as how everything is changing, the awakening that is happening, that light workers know, like the back of their hands, but not a lot of people do know, for the ones who are unawakened. How does the starseed relate to your belief system and how it pertains to the awakening that's happening, that's taking over this planet in the shifting times?
Okay. For me, what they showed me, we are all starseeds. Every soul, one is not separated. The ones who have awoken to assist the other souls, that's still okay, so we're still not above. So the Greek is the ones who, if you want to say, call themselves psychics, where, as they've shown me, that we're all psychic, our third eye, every soul is born. We all have the third eye between our eyebrows, forehead. We all have that, and when you're in tune and you meditate, that can be awakened. The ones who choose, which I'm not saying again, the free will. We have free will. We choose to be awakened or not, but we're still awakened. If that makes sense. You still have a belief system. You still have a knowing. And the ones who are sleeping, and this is what they show me, there's many souls who choose to have a vacation, and that's their free will, so they don't have to be totally awakened. They're on vacation, and they're entitled to that vacation. So, people can have a good laugh as well about that in a good way. The ones who are fully awakened, we are just here assisting the process. The great shift happened in 2012. As we all know, that was the greatest shift on the planet, and we collectively did it together. There was no one individual person or item. It was a collective on this planet that assisted with the guardians. But we, if you want to say humans, collectively did this together. We came into the golden age once again. We are going to continue on that path. It will get better. Of course, everything takes time in the human way or the human understanding of time. The star seeds, which the star nations which are above us, we're all connected. My experience is that I am the seventh daughter or seventh sister, if you want to say, which is the oldest, which is Maya. My name is Maya. I'm connected to all the star nations. The Hopi grandfather, this is from above, so the connection of the star seed with me, it's the Hopi grandfather. His name is Chief Anu D. Chi. He is from Anu, the planet Anu. So this is my connection with them, where I was seated a long time ago or many moons ago, and he's always around me. So the ancestors from above and the ancestors of below. They are tribal ancestors that actually see the grandfather that is with me. My name, the Golden Eagle, Dyana Golden Eagle, was given to me from my Hopi grandfather. So relating back to Serpent Mound, I was guided before I came to Ohio. When I was in Arizona, Sedona, they showed me that I was to go to Serpent Mound. I was crowned on Serpent Mound many moons ago by my grandfather. I was to go there and place a few crystals in the water and to bless the grounds as we once did. Because Serpent Mound, the vortex, there's many places on the planet, and I'm sure you understand that already, these vortexes. Energy's coming in, energy's going out, but at the same time there's a lot of dark energies. So these places where we go to, they actually assisted in removing these energies. So the star seed, yes, we're all connected to the star seed nation, every soul. None of us are separated. None of us are sort of above another. They have showed me that there's none of us. That star seed, or the star nations, which is the Federation, how do you say it? They give me a name sometimes. Federation Galaxy, they have a council and they collectively assist the planet. That's what they showed me.
Just a wonderful conversation, and it's just I just have so many questions. I have probably a few weeks of questions to ask you, but just for the sake of time, I guess the next question for me to ask is, what makes Mother Gaia, what makes the planet Earth, what makes humanity so special? Why do our star brothers, these entities from above, our own plane, why are they helping us to evolve to the next, I guess, stages of our own evolution, I guess, in consciousness? What makes us so important to where it makes any type of relevance to help us to awaken? What makes us so special?
Well, we are so special because we are creator souls. We are creations of Creator. We have known how we were divine, every soul. We were light beings. We chose to come into this timeline and experience what we're experiencing. It's a collective. It's not only the star seeds, it's actually ourselves that are created. We created the darkness, if you want to know the truth. We were shown that we did this to ourselves. We did this many lifetimes and different planets. And this time, it was a potential whether to go back into the very darkness or come into the golden light once again. But we as humans collectively did this once again and shifted the paradigm. We shifted it. We shifted it into the light, and we will continue to do this. So by answering your question, why us? Because we are beautiful creations of Creator Source. We are Creator Source. We are the divinity of Source itself. So why not? Yes, we are so beautifully created, and if everyone can have the remembrance and look at themselves, with what they showed me when I was at Serpent Mound and I did my very small speak, it was the remembrance of showing the souls that we're so beautiful. Every part of your human avatar body is so beautiful. We chose it. Every time you birth into Earth, every reincarnation, we choose our own avatar body. It is that divine. We have the gifts and abilities to heal our own avatar body. When you actually come into alignment and have your chakra points in balance, and this is why when people are guided to my page and guided to me to assist, this is why I ask the guardians to show, is there any chakras out of balance? Yes or no? And when they show, if it is one or two, they will show why. You get to see how you empower yourself to actually realign yourself. So by realigning your chakra points, it's all connected with the stars, it's all connected with spirit source, it's all connected with the collective. Your experience, your life experience is all connected. So everything that you ask me about, why us? We are source. That is the only answer, pure answer to give you. We are source in many forms, many ways of experience. Everything about you, that person out there listening, that person that is thinking, they're not divine, or, what is happening to their life, they are divine, and they have the gifts and abilities to change into self-love. It is time for people on the planet to self-love. And when I say self-love, it's unconditional love. It's to release all those things about themselves that they have thought they were not worthy of. Parents and grandparents and everything that's happened to them from their forefathers needs to change. Those old paradigms, those old ideas that we actually separate ourselves from each other. And once we come to realize that we're all so unique, yet individual, yet we're all connected, it's the most wonderful freedom. That's the one word that comes, freedom. We can look at another person and see their divinity before them, because that's what they are. Aloha, namaste, means I see the God within you. And this is why I personally choose to bow to another soul. When I do have that moment where I feel that I need to do that, I will bow, because I'm honoring this God before me, this divine female and male. We have both within ourselves. We have the male energy and the female energy. So you've got to have the balance of the two within ourselves. And that's what they showed me in the readers, to allow people to remember you have the two in the one in this avatar body. You cannot have you cannot have too much of your male energy, then you are out of balance. If you have too much of the female, you're out of balance. To have a balanced life, you must have the two energies within you balanced at all moments. And when you feel you're out of balance, meditate. And you don't need to meditate hours. Actually, it's not about hours. It's about individually meditating, but it's the intent behind it. That's the key. The intent comes from your heart space. Meditate, allow yourself to see yourself, and then everything falls into alignment.
Now you mentioned freedom, and that's been the word of the month for me since the beginning of this month. And freedom has often grazed and surfaced my own awareness, my consciousness. And since it's ever done that, since the beginning of this month, I started to question, what is freedom entirely as far as pertains to the whole picture, as far as the universe is concerned, and the life mission that we do in helping each other to heal. And as far as that healing is concerned, do you think and do you feel, and I know there's many different parts of it as far as how we approach this and perceive it, do you feel that freedom also has to do with releasing from that karma, from, I guess, the recycling our lives, going back into these avatar bodies? Do you feel that it is the goal at the end, I guess the end game of what this experience entails, to where we don't need to come back to these avatar bodies, where we become free and we go back to source, to the universe, and where we don't have to prove to ourselves that, from the fall, from going into the darkness, and then slowly retrieving back to the light, to our God source. Do you feel that freedom entirely entails to releasing from that karmic recycling of lives? What do you think about that?
Chance, you have this many on this timeline now. On this timeline, what they showed me is we're in a 7-year cycle, starting from this year, and everything that is happening is compressed. Everything is very fast, So you'll notice sometimes you'll manifest or things it actually happens, maybe in a day or within a week, or maybe at the same moment. To answer you, we are to clear these karmic energies that we individually created on your individual path. So when one is ready, fully ready to complete the past lives or past lives, because they're all intertwined, when you're in the readings, and when one is guided to do it's called the fire ceremony, and the fire ceremony is guided the ancestral way. The ancestral way is always on the full moon. Full moon, as you already know, it's all to do with the energies. It's the rebrushing. So when you are guided to do a ceremony, a fire ceremony, and it's called a cord cutting or cord removal, cord energy removal,
Right.
it will show you the past life. So I take you back in the sacred readings or in the sacred ceremony when we actually worded that I will take you back to your light creation, which is your beginning, to this very moment. So, for example, if it's today, so I take you all the way back to light creation to this day. Basically, you're purging all words, all thoughts and feelings and actions, releasing the karmic energy, which is the energy of those past lives that are still into your, you can say avatar body, you can say into your spiritual body, which is the energy around you. Once you actually say those particular words and do the actual ceremony, you are now removing those cords, those attachments, because you're actually accepting, so you're releasing, and that's when it's called the freedom, where you're releasing and saying, well, I release myself from those attachments. You're letting it go. You're accepting that these words and actions were said and done, because in past lives we have been both. We've been males, we've been females, we've been on other dimensions, we've been on other earths, if you want to say, and we're still there because everything is parallel. Everything is connected. The past, the present, the parallel, it's all happening at the same time. So when you start to close those timelines, so to speak, by admitting to say, I release that, I release those energies, it then forms that great circle into the now with you. And that's how these readings are done, that the ceremony, you're actually removing the cords. So yes, it's important for the souls out there to realize they have this gift of self-healing and accepting and releasing. And that's when it's called surrender. Surrender to your higher self. Surrender to the divinity that you are. Release all this that you are holding. You're holding these cords. So many timelines from grandfathers, grandmothers, words and actions are in your energy field. When you release that, it's called freedom. You're now surrounded by the divine light. There's no dark or gray energies around you. It's completely removed. And in the readings, they get to see that, they get to feel that, and that's when the freedom starts to happen. And yes, we are all going to go into the divine light. Yes, we are all going to go into, as they say, the light bodies, but not for many moons. This is not. It's not going to happen in the next lifetime. We're all going to be reincarnated, but it's going to be a better reincarnation. Every reincarnation gets better and better and better. This is what was shown, until it eventuates to the divine body, which is your light body. So yes, to answer that question, but I cannot give you a timeline. I cannot say to you 100 years from now, or because that's not true. That's not what they showed us. There's no number. It's just a show that it will happen, and it's already happening now. But every change that is happening on the planet, every shift, every part on this planet is shifting. We're all shifting together. It's not a separate thing that a few people may be thinking. No, it's a collective.
It makes perfect sense, just from my own experiences, from not only from other shows or from other experiences that people have told through their own story, but just from my own too as well, which kind of validates the fact of how true this might be. Because I've always felt that, as far as the multiverse, parallel universes, and even when we talk about some other aspects of how that relates to the parallel universe, the Mandela effect and doppelgangers, parallel lives. Just from the past 8 to 9 years, many people have told me that there is another Joel in Arizona, or another person that is similar to me but is the same. And it kind of like attributes to the fact of, there are parallel universes that are created as soon as we have awareness. It creates another timeline almost. And I could be totally wrong, but this is but this is what I feel that is happening, and which creates and attributes to the, I wouldn't say the problem, but more of the complicated nature of what the universe is all about. When you say as above as so below, that just tells me of a mirror. When you look at a puzzle on the ground, you see the exact mirror of you from below. And if we were on the other side, we would see the same thing on the other side. As above, as so shall it be below. Oh. And that kind of lends to the whole ideology, the science, and even potentially the reality of the holographic universe that I'm going to be interviewing in the near future, Mr. Jerry Wills. I'm not sure if you know him, but he's been on many different shows as well, many different popular platforms. And he himself has a relationship to Peru, and especially the Amuru Moru, the gateway over there in Bulgaria or Bolivia. And his experiences often relates to that holographic universe, the mirror universe, the duality of things, like a universe within the universe within the universe, which goes deeper into not only the complicated portions of it, but when you start to think about it, as far as that's concerned, it's really simple as far as the perception and the understanding of it. If you were to place yourself in a different dimension of understanding, not necessarily in the physics of this timeline. I don't know if that makes any sense either. But so it's amazing how what you have said, it would release us from, I guess, the further evolving nature of what this universe is all about, and freeing us from these multi-dimensional realities of that multiverse of our multiple selves, by releasing from that karmic ties, by performing such rituals of the cord releasing type of rituals that we mentioned not only in this show but during my reading. This would also lend to gravitating towards our higher self, where everything converges into one, as opposed to many parallel realities. And I think that's where we're headed to, just gravitating to our God source, to the unity, the connectedness of one. And am I just rambling, or am I leaning towards more of the truth as far as it pertains to what's going on?
You're allowing the audience to actually hear and understand it, which is wonderful, because I'm listening to you and you're making sense of the whole, what all the other people you've met on these travels, or coming to you on the radio station. Every one of us has been shown these multiple universes, which are reflective of ourselves in different lives, in different timelines. It all comes into one. And by releasing all those other things that I was saying to you, you then get to see yourself, the higher self, always with you and always will be. And that's the magic, and they keep showing me or allowing me to say joyfulness. Please let the people know joyfulness. Everything's about joy. When you realize that those moments that we have created ourselves, because most people will do that. I've got to say, they'll shift the blame and say you, or they'll say, there's another expression people will say, they'll put it onto others. She said, I said, he said business. When in actual fact, it's yourself. And when you can collectively sit by yourself and go, okay, I take responsibility for everything, but not other people's actions, but your own actions, and allow yourself to see that and then release it and forgive. It's about forgiveness. It's about compassion. It's about empathy. Once you do all these things, you do surrender. You do allow yourself to see the higher you or the higher self, and you start. It becomes a lifestyle. So you allow, and they say what they show us, that even though you have your earthly responsibilities, you will always remember the divinity within yourself. So even though you've got your earthly responsibilities, but always be mindful of your thoughts and feelings, because that's energy going out. So even in those moments when we have things happen to us, still be mindful, still forgive, still do it, because then you're stopping those energies from coming at you. So it's always a reflection of yourself, always reflecting on yourself, but not being hard on yourself. That's what they say, not be hard, be gentle, be loving, be forgiving. So when you do that to self, it gets reflected out. And that's when it's mentioned about, the mirror image, what you are, it's being reflected. That's the mirror image. That makes sense?
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense. And you mentioned it several times. I'm not sure if it's separate from forgiveness or detachment. I think it's part of the equation. But I remember in the healing process between January and March and onto this point, the most important thing that I realized in my own self-healing, the word or the vibration of a different way of approaching the healing process was surrender. That kept on just popping up in my own awareness frequently. And it wasn't just once or twice. It was frequently throughout the day. You have to surrender. And that's different from, I guess, detaching or forgiving. All of those work hand in hand. But when you surrender, you just give all of who you are, and you trust as to what I don't know, the universe, God, the process, our guardians. It's like almost as if we've tried all our lives to try to control the many things that happen through every corner, through every river, through every peaks and bounds. But when we incorporate our own choices and alternatives to those choices, it goes a certain direction. But when we surrender, we almost, give in to the river and allow for faith and just the trusting of the universe to bring us to where we need to be, without us, altering the course. And is that what surrender ultimately means? Am I at least close to what that's all about, do you think?
Surrender is surrendering to all that you are. Surrendering to all that you are, all past lives, present, parallel, future. You're surrendering to your higher self. You're surrendering to your whole being. When you surrender and do it with unconditional love, that's the key word that showed me. You come to see how beautiful, even those moments that you think that was not a good thing, it's a lesson. It is something that you created. We created those negativity. No one else did but yourself, and that's when it's the self-reflection. Self-reflection. It's just not thinking, you not choose negative words. And if you try to hear me, I try to avoid negative words, because everything, as I was saying to you, is energy. So when you reprogram those words, the negative words, and realize everything's positive, use positive affirmations. And in those moments when you do get frustrated or angry or whatever it is that changes your vibration, have a moment and say the thoughts right then and then. I choose not to use that particular word. I choose not to be having those thoughts and feelings right now, because I am greater than that. Gift me another word. And when you seek, because they showed me not to use the word ask, use the word seek. It's a different vibration. Right. What I seek is another word, and you will be gifted another word. And I can give an example of what happened to me when I was gifted this sacred chant. And when they first gifted it to me, the words that came was archangels. And I wrote it down. However, I had a gentleman who's so beautiful. He was here in the U.S., and because he's had, trials in trauma with and I have to say this out loud, with the Catholic Church, right? And I know there's souls on this planet, including myself, who've all come from that, moments of things that have happened to us in religions up there. And when I gave him the sacred chant, he could not say those two words, archangels. He says, I'm having an issue with that.
Right.
And I said, why? And during reading, and he says, well, I was raised in the Catholic Church and I've been, abused and so forth. And I said, okay. And in that given moment, I said to Creator Source, and I said, give me another word. I seek another word that will assist souls, just like this gentleman. Not archangels, could you give me another word or words? And those two words that came to me was divine guardians. And when I read out the sacred chant to him, as above, as below, as we do, the divine guardians do now, what I seek, and then, the rest is up to that person. Or when I do the prayers, I will zone in or connect with the energy, and I'll write the rest of the prayer for them. And when I did that with him, he said, I now connect to that sacred chant. So in that moment, as I said, I shifted that vibration from, he could not use those two words or even say it or even think it. He said, I cannot. And I asked him to give me, and that's when I got the divine guardians. And anyone else, if they feel sometimes the person will relate to archangels, I will say, would you like me to use the word archangels? And some will say, oh, I prefer that.
Right, exactly.
And as you said, sometimes it's an individual preference, we're all collective, but sometimes certain things, like some people, they'll say, I don't mind to say archangels, I relate to that, but it's a energy, it's Creator Source. Words are just words in that sense, where, because we were taught these ideas, but it's assisting. These words assist some people, divine guardians. Some people prefer archangels. But at the end of the day, that is divine energy. I'm still getting the affirmation out. I'm still getting that prayer out to that person.
Right.
I'm still changing. We're changing collectively. And that person, we're still changing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, everything gravitates toward the energetic signature and how we approach it or portray it or express it. It really determines the nature of how things pan out and manifest. And you're right about that. Certain words and phrases we say really changes the dynamics of how things manifest. And, I can get into the specifics, but I'm not. But they do portray a different energetic signature and how we pan out our lives in a certain direction. So I agree on that. And Diana, I got to tell you, I could talk hours and hours with you. And there's, again, so many questions. I would love to have you back on the show where we can dive into other aspects of where we just barely scratched the surface. But with that being said, for our listeners, for people who have gravitated towards the topic of discussion for this particular episode, and who would like to have a reading per se, or even just to talk to you, for that matter, about their own past lives, where they are in their own current life, and their own certain circumstances, how can they be able to contact you? Are there any particular links to your website, any blogs, or any other information that many of our listeners can gravitate towards too, and contacting you, if you could?
Yes, I do have my page, which is the Diana Golden Eagle, and I also have the other page on Facebook, which is the Diana Golden Eagle Traditional. They can reach me on that, or it's also my phone number, which I've actually put on there. And if they don't have it, it's still 9362 252 0813. That's one way. And then there's also my email, which is actually on there. It's Teresa68@hotmail.com.
Okay.
There's two ways, and I always do respond to the people, but the Facebook and via Messenger, because most people will connect via Messenger where they can say, hey, please, are you available to chat or to, I do that all the time, so.
And I do have to say that the readings that you provide are very intuitive, inspirational, eye-opening, and very comforting, I have to say, for my dear listeners who have an interest in seeking the guidance of Dyana, Golden Eagle, Medicine Woman. And I got to tell you that the works she does too as well, as far as her embroidery, arts and crafts with her dream catchers, just beautiful. And you can tell the detail and the amount of love that is put into each and every piece that she creates, as far as it relates to your own particular readings that she performs for you. So by all means, I'm going to have her links to this particular episode, whether it's in Spreaker or on YouTube or Patreon. The links for her websites in order to contact Dyana are going to be connected to these recordings. And as a caveat, Dyana, for our listeners to take away and to bring back to the loved ones, what would you have as a final word from this episode? What would you want our listeners to take home to the loved ones?
To all the ones that are listening to, even the ones that are not sort of on listening, they're always listening to this whole energy. For me, the message from the guardians and the ancestors and from Creator Source itself was to allow people to remember that you are divine, you are beautiful in your creation, you are worthy of unconditional love, and that when the ancestors cross over, and we are also the ancestors, they are always with us, because my mother has crossed over 19 years, and she's always with me. She comes to me in dream time messages. Same with my grandmother. They never leave us. The actual avatar body goes to Gaia, but they are reincarnated not long after. But the spirit energy is always with us. They guide us. They assist us. Sometimes when we smell a certain scent of theirs, that's them just to say, I'm here with you. That's another message they're saying. When we hear a particular song, and I'm being asked to share this as well, when we hear a particular song and this comes to our mind at that moment, and if you can go on YouTube and Google the lyrics, look at the lyrics of that song, there's a message in the song for you. It is showing you that they're there, they love you unconditionally, so does Creator Source. And every soul is so unique that you're always, always loved, now and always. This message I am to bring to every person. They hear us, they see us, they acknowledge. You're always being acknowledged, and it's time to realize how beautiful you are. That is a message.
Dyana, I got to tell you, it's been such a pleasure talking to you, conversing with you, and just to have you in connection and reconnection from many past lives from before to this very moment. I got to tell you, it's been a wonderful experience to follow your guidance, and many thank yous, many thousand thank yous to what you have done for me from the very beginning, and the difficult times in this timeline of within this experience at the beginning of the year, to help me with that prayer, and helping to manifest things that was always deeply ingrained within my heart, but was always afraid to express it. And then many other thank yous too as well, as far as what you've done for me with the reading and helping me to become a participant in my own healing process and trusting myself. And I got to have you for another episode in the show, and allowing me to helping you to spread your message too as well. Whatever I could do to bring that forth and spreading that to the masses as far as consciousness is concerned, to other people of the like, or even people who haven't been awakened as of yet. I thank you for everything that you do in your life mission, And it's been absolutely a wonderful experience for me. So thank you for being on the show on Quantum Mindfulness Radio.
Well, I think the collective, as you know, I always have to be, I don't want to say, a repetitive word. I want to say I'm in gratitude to the collective, which is every soul on the planet, because you've all been with each other and with me as well. And in gratitude to the ancestors, of course, and to Creator Source. So everything that I'm guided to do is from above and from below. So I do it with honor, I do it with gratefulness, I do it with humility, and just to honor every soul before me. Even the ones I've not physically met, I'm still in gratitude because they are with me at all moments. Everything is connected. And of course, I'm very grateful to you, Joe, for the trust. You know, people share their personal life, and it's held sacred. It is not shared. Everything that's written down or spoken to me, and of course the collective when you're purging it out, it's honored. It is honored through the heart and then given out to Creator Source. So thank you very much from my own heart space to everyone that has allowed themselves to speak and to share those moments of their life.
Absolutely. Very thankful for the gifts that you've gifted to me, including the sacred crystal, and once more, everything that you've done for me and the healing process too as well. Very much so indebted to your work and then your life mission. And there you have it. Dyana, Golden Eagle, medicine woman, an inspiring soul, a healer, a gatekeeper of many sorts, and also a light worker, a blue light worker who has provided us with the grace and the blessing to healing the world in many, many aspects of the name. And thank you, Dyana, for being on our show.
Thank you so much.
And so join us next time on Quantum Mindfulness Radio, as we will be interviewing many other trailblazers, light workers, authors, researchers within their field who are attempting to awaken the masses with many aspects of this reality. And we'll see you soon next time on Quantum Mindfulness Radio.
The last time I saw your face before you met God's grace, since the day that you left us, always been hard days, hard nights, still the same, still the struggle still remains.
The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised, but heard instead, dear listeners, through podcast radio on realrevolutionradio.com. Never before has inspirational podcast radio been taken to this next level of wow. Until now. Today, in the age of information, more and more people are searching for answers and in solutions in how to better approach and perceive every day-to-day concerns by tuning in to realrevolutionradio.com. Isn't it about time we take back our lives, back in consciousness, in a higher state of awareness, in the evolution of our own state of higher well-being? Yes, we can do so consciously every day by tuning in to the many groundbreaking and third eye-opening podcasts. Our new Cleveland-based network of over 33 paradigm-shifting internet talk shows. Only on realrevolutionradio.com. Be part of that change. Evolve. Be inspired.